one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing, where, you know, winning is the only thing that truly matters.
Welcome back to Kicking It with Saint. I hope you are having a dope day, dope afternoon, dope night, whichever point in time you're checking me out. I appreciate you for checking me out. I'm drinking a slushie. The NFL season is here. We 15 days, a little over 2 weeks away from the NFL season starting. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Actually, December is, but you get what I'm saying. Football season, the best sport ever created. Argue with somebody else if you don't agree. It's time. We here, baby. We here. But we got a couple things that we got to talk about before we actually get there. Because you see, the New York, incorrect team, the Indianapolis Colts have decided to go with Daniel Jones as their starter. Meaning Anthony Richardson will be the backup. Let's get into it. So, I got a couple thoughts on this. I'm not really shocked that this happened. Well, let me put it to you like this. I'm not shocked that it happened, but I am shocked that it happened. And this is what I mean. If you looked at how the Colts operated or how the Colts ran this Anthony Richardson situation and how Anthony Richardson has ran the Anthony Richardson situation, it's not really shocking that it's gotten to this point. However, to draft somebody at number 4 in the draft and for it to be where it is right now, it is very shocking that this situation could have been mishandled the way this situation could have been mishandled. Now, it's a situation, so let's get into it piece by piece. So when you draft Anthony Richardson, for one, people can say whatever they want to. I refuse to believe that watching Lamar Jackson develop, it's no way that he and Josh Allen are not two of the biggest reasons why you go and draft a player like Anthony Richardson. But I will continue to say Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are generational type talents. So looking at them and saying we can find that player in the draft, you might find a player that can do some of the things that those players can do. Might look real great when they do it. More times than likely, not going to be that type of player. But when you draft an Anthony Richardson, you're banking on his upside being a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen level of player. Now, Anthony Richardson didn't have a lot of football under his belt before he was drafted, but you still make that draft pick. The numbers were the numbers when he came out of college. The numbers never said he should have been a number 1 pick, but you looked at his frame, you looked at how strong his arm was, and Anthony Richardson was the 4th pick in the draft for more upside than actual what you saw on film. It was everything, all of the we think he can be this and one day he could be that, and if he in the right situation, it was everything that made you draft him. It was more of what he could be than what he actually is right now. And I think because of that, the Colts forgot what he actually was. And I don't think that the Colts, now I'm not saying the Colts sabotage Anthony Richardson or anything like this, and we'll get to the Anthony Richardson part of it in a couple, but I don't think that the Colts have managed this Anthony Richardson situation as great as they could manage it. I understand last year when he said he was tired, so he pulled himself out of the game because of that. But once again, this is where if you are the Colts, You have to ignore the outside world. I don't care how everybody else and their mama feel about what he said. What you have to remember is when you drafted him, he did not have a ton of football under his belt. It makes perfect sense that now he is in this situation, and his first season in the NFL, he was hurt. It makes a lot of sense that he is tired. Would you have liked him to vocalize it? No. But it makes perfect sense that he was tired. Especially when you consider the way he plays football. So, to me, that was made a bigger deal than it should have been. You took the public side rather than Anthony Richardson's side. And that's one of the things that I used to say when it came to the Carolina Panthers. I couldn't stand it when it felt like Ron Rivera took the outside side rather than Cam Newton's side. I felt like it was times where he should have been more vocally on Cam Newton's side and stood up for Cam Newton more. I don't believe him saying he was tired should have warranted him being benched. I don't think it should have made people look at him a certain type of way. This is still a young dude who still has not played a shit ton of. He has not even played a full season in the NFL yet. I don't believe. I think he done played 15 games in his career. That's not even a full season in the NFL. So while I'm not defending Anthony Richardson, when you make a draft pick at number 4 with a prospect that is more of a prospect than and I understand everybody is a prospect, but he a prospect that you are with far more of the we hope he can be this and the upside type thing, rather than we seeing what we see on film, and right now we think, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't the Colts, to be honest. When you draft like that, rather, and you are the Colts, you have to remember that. And and I think one of the things that's hurting Anthony Richardson in this situation, other than saying he was tired in that situation being blown out of proportion, Shane Steichen coaching for his job. And if you're coaching for your job, you don't have the time or patience to try to get Anthony Richardson to where you need him to get to. It's as simple as that. That's why you was willing to bring in Joe Flacco last year mid-season. You don't have the time, you don't have the resume to warrant another year, especially considering, rest in peace to Jim Irsay, but because he has passed away, his daughters have taken over the organization. They could want to start fresh. They could want to get their own GM, their own head coach, their own front office. So this could be a year where Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are coaching for his career and the other one having to make all the type of moves to save his job, because that's the type of year and the type of situation the Colts seem to be put in. Now, a lot of people continue to get, matter of fact, let me stay on this Anthony Richardson situation. So that's one of the things that's not really working in Anthony Richardson's favor. But again, I think since the Colts lost Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, they really haven't ran this organization the way that this organization probably should have been ran. I think they looked at their roster far too many times and said, we just a quarterback away, in a sense of, look at the quarterbacks they went out and got. A old Matt Ryan who was past his prime. A old Phillip Rivers who was past his prime. Carson Wentz who really wasn't good anymore in a lot of people's eyes. Like Jacoby Brissett. Like, look at all the starters they've had since Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. The first 2-3 years, I don't really even like giving it that many years, but the first couple years you can give them Luck retired out of nowhere, even though that's the season you could use to get back. You could tank away that season easily and go after a quarterback. They didn't do that. They continued to try to put a Band-Aid over the situation, and all while the Chiefs got a franchise quarterback, the Ravens got a franchise quarterback, the Bills got a franchise quarterback, the Bengals got a franchise quarterback, the Texans got a franchise quarterback, the Jags think they got a franchise quarterback, the Chargers got a franchise quarterback. Like, the Raiders done went through Derek Carr, now they on Geno Smith. Like, if you are, excuse me for a second, something had failed. Give me a quick second. I gotta fix this real quick. not fix it. But anyways, if you are the Colts and you look at all of those different teams in the time span of which you lost Andrew Luck and to up to now, the Colts done had many of opportunities to get a quarterback, to have a losing season, to go get a quarterback. Hell, Lamar Jackson was drafted by Baltimore with the 32nd pick. They could have drafted Lamar Jackson. Like, the Colts have had opportunities to go get a quarterback rather than continuously using the Band-Aid method to try to Band-Aid the position. And they kept doing it. They continue to do it. Even now, they went out and got Daniel Jones. Everybody knows Daniel Jones is not taking the Colts anywhere. This clearly, and to be completely honest with you, in my opinion, if you're benching Anthony Richardson for Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson you're probably looking for a franchise quarterback in the draft. So if I'm the Colts and we get off to like a 0-4, 1-5 start, just tank the season away. Trade away some of those players and get ready to start fresh. Because to be completely honest with you, you done had multiple opportunities since the Andrew Luck situation to reset the franchise and start over. Washington has a franchise quarterback now. We done seen Baker Mayfield been passed around the league, and now he done landed in a situation that got people thinking he a franchise quarterback. Like, a lot of dudes done made homes in places, and you're still looking for a quarterback. And now, the patience that you should have had with Anthony Richardson, you didn't have. This, I don't like it when people say, oh, well, you know, it's all about where you land. I don't like when people use that as to why a quarterback becomes great, because I believe some quarterbacks, because you didn't think Cincinnati was good, but then Joe Burrow got there, even though Cincinnati, it's something about Joe Burrow, bro, because it's as if people forget how great Cincinnati was all them years with Andrew Luck. Did they win in the playoffs? No, but they was there almost, if not every year. You look at Washington. That team actually had shittier luck the last couple decades than Cincinnati did. Jayden Daniels comes in, everything changes. Look at what the Colts were without Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck comes in, 11-win team immediately. Like Seattle, Russell Wilson come in. Baltimore, John Harbaugh about to lose his job. Ozzie done retired. Lamar Jackson come in. The Bills, sinking. Josh Allen comes in. So, to me, when you look at all of these situations and then you go and look at Indy, to me, it's hard to say this is just on Anthony Richardson. And I'm a big hold a player accountable type of guy. I'm not a guy who's going to just make excuses for a player and all of those type of things, even though I am more pro player than anything. But in a situation like this, when I'm looking at Indy and how they done handled this situation, because look, imagine if the Ravens had handled Lamar Jackson like this off of his first year, even though it wasn't even a full year. He came in relief of Joe because Joe got hurt. Imagine if seeing that, they panicked and how he ended that playoff game and just panicked and changed everything and just did all these other type of things. To me, if you're Indy, you got to stick the course. Now, with that being said, there's a couple things that's working against Indy that to an extent I understand, but it still don't make up for the fact that Indy done had time. Because Indy had time to try to figure out this quarterback position before the AFC got to the point that it's in. But understanding you really don't have the time or patience to find and develop a quarterback. You really want them to hit like a CJ Stroud, like a Bo Nix, like a Jordan Love. You really want these dudes to hit quick, like Jaden over in Washington. Because in the AFC, with Mahomes, Lamar, and Allen, it is, and then Burrow as the other guy to some people, it is just very difficult to imagine. And these dudes are young. These dudes ain't 34, 35. These ain't dudes in the twilights of their careers. These are dudes who is young, already building great resumes, great legacies. who are going to probably be competing against each other in the AFC Championship game every year. So what do you don't have the time or patience to sit around basically and say, well, we'll just develop this dude. Because while every other person getting better, it's not like Lamar, Pat, or Josh slowing down anytime soon. The AFC is a very competitive division. And it's the toughest quarterback division. So it's tough to even find a quarterback in the AFC when you are. It's really not, because if you're the Colts and you don't have your quarterback, and more times, I mean, you look at the division they in, you face CJ Stroud twice a year. Obviously, the Jags situation at quarterback has not been what it's supposed to be. And then you got the Titans, who feel like they have found their franchise quarterback in Cam Ward. Again, if you were the Colts, you seem to be falling behind in this quarterback market. The Titans drafted Will Levis, realized that wasn't going to work out, and now they have Cam Ward. If Cam Ward hits, do you think anybody will care about those bad down years for them Titans the last couple years? No. The Texans before CJ Stroud, do we remember how they were going through African American head coaches, that whole situation? We never talk about it now because they have CJ Stroud. So it's very unique to me, or interesting, if you will, that the Colts have not figured out that quarterback situation. But that is the biggest thing holding them back. And I think because if you look at the fact that they haven't figured that situation out, and they've had opportunities to figure that situation out, to me it's really not shocking how they've handled the Anthony Richardson situation, because it all plays a part of one another, in my opinion. You look at how the quarterback, and then you could say, well, they went out and got Anthony Richardson at number 4. I agree. But look at how they've handled him since. If you draft a quarterback at number 4, you're giving him every single opportunity to be great. I don't care how he looked in a preseason game. I know what Daniel Jones is. Daniel Jones is not his first, second, third year. We've seen Daniel Jones. We know what Daniel Jones is. The Giants paid the man, and they immediately regretted paying him for the next 2 years. We know what Daniel Jones is. He was in the NFC playing like that. Now you put him in the AFC. I do not believe that it just had been very hard for me to bench him for Anthony Richardson. And mind you, Anthony Richardson is a completely different situation than even a Justin Fields situation, because Justin Fields to me is more of a Daniel Jones type of situation where we know what they are. Now, a lot of people, well, unless you Indy, a lot of people already tell you we know what Daniel Jones is. It is still people out there who think that Justin Fields has just been done dirty throughout his entire career, and that he is going to be great with the Jets. But I do not. I couldn't disagree with that more. This is not the same, in my opinion. Injury to Anthony Richardson and his rookie, you can't do nothing about that. You're a rookie. Once again, he has not played that much football compared to some of the other dudes coming in at his position, or coming in football in general. To me, you got to ride this thing till you know absolutely without a shadow of a doubt that he's not going to develop with you or on his own time, and the results just aren't there. To me, benching him right now for the foreseeable future for Daniel Jones is just, I'm being completely honest with you, I think it's franchise malpractice, or a franchise showing you that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's as simple as that. Because, once again, not defending Anthony Richardson, but it is a lot of things you have to take into account. He is facing Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow, Stroud, Herbert, and it ain't even just Herbert. It's Herbert with a great coach, in because it's more of a unit thing. It's not like Herbert is just overwhelming, teams or whatnot. It's got a lot to do with Jim Harbaugh being a great head coach too. But you got CJ Stroud. It's so many situations right now in the AFC that make it tough for a young quarterback to quickly develop in the AFC. Like, I think the NFC is such a safer place to develop a quarterback right now. Not only that, the NFC teams seem to understand that you have to put talent around your young quarterback when they are on a rookie contract. Washington has clearly not gotten that memo. Nonetheless, and I understand people will say, well, you look at Bo Nix. Bo Nix really wasn't great against, the Mahomes, the Allens, the Lamars, the Burrows. You know what I'm saying? And against those type of quarterbacks, I wouldn't take him over them at all. And I don't think, when I looked at Bo Nix, he was far better than what I thought he was going to be. But he wasn't, to me, he didn't play at a thing that made me think. He wasn't as good as Jaden or C.J. Stroud, for that matter. But he was good. He was a serviceable quarterback. I think he could be even better in year 2. But to me, Bo Nix, if the Broncos get to a Super Bowl, a lot of that defense and a lot of pieces on that offense played crazy or are great units. Legendary, maybe, even. But because I'm seeing a lot of people say this is going to be the toughest year for Pat Mahomes to win his division. Maybe if the Chiefs take a step back, but I just did some stupid shit. If the Chiefs take a step back in a lot of different areas, sure, but with Spags still running that defense, Chris Jones still on that defense, Andy Reid still the head coach running that offense, Pat Mahomes still the signal caller making the decisions in that offense. Yeah, it's going to be very hard for me to bet against. It's going to be very hard for me to bet against the Chiefs. But back to Indy. So when you take into account the type of competition, because it's not like he taking on, below average quarterback play in teams in the AFC. So it's a lot of things working against Anthony Richardson. So once again, I believe this is one of them situations where if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you have to remember, you have to stick to a game plan even when the game plan look ugly at times. And I just don't think that the Colts was willing to do that. Now, to get to the Anthony Richardson side of things, maybe he could have prepared better. I don't know Anthony Richardson. I done seen the reports. I done read the reports and all the things that they say about Anthony. A lot of bad things come out about players after things like this happen. That's just the natural. That's just the nature of the beast. But maybe he could have trained better. Maybe he could have been better prepared. Once again, this is still a young dude. Now, listen, there's no excuses for Anthony Richardson. You're in the NFL now. It don't matter how young you are, how little bit of football you done played. You're still in the NFL now. You have to get it together at some point in time. And I get all that, but I refuse to believe Anthony Richardson just wasn't working. Maybe he wasn't putting in the work the Colts feel like he should have been putting in. But it's just hard for me to believe Anthony Richardson wasn't working at all. Now, Anthony Richardson said in his rookie year that the NFL was easy. And that's done really came back to bite him in the ass. But I don't think, because I know social media get addicted to quotes like that. So everybody start to act like he deserved what's happening to him. I don't believe in things like that. I think that's just weird that people are like that nowadays. But to me, if you're Anthony Richardson, but you gotta, I mean, it's really hard for me to put too much of this on him. Like, I'm not trying to absolve him in any way. Like, he played a part in this decision happening also. However, once again, man, this is a young quarterback who has not played a ton of football. Who I just feel like you have to put people in place that can guide a young dude. Like a Greg Roman would be great for Anthony Richardson right now. And I understand his vets on the offense. I understand his vets on the offense, vets on the defense and whatnot, but clearly something wasn't getting there. Now, if reports come out to say that he was just a terrible teammate, he was late for meetings, he wasn't receptive to this and that, then you got me. But you have to do everything in your... He was the 4th pick in the draft. you got to at least give him a chance to lose the job. Like a legitimate chance of him just being terrible for a whole season. And if he never make it through a whole season, then I understand that. But I just... I guess my biggest confusion with the decision, ultimately, is what do you think that you are going to get with Daniel Jones? Because you don't need the preseason. You didn't need the preseason to know what Daniel Jones was. We done seen Daniel Jones for the last 4 or 5 seasons. We know exactly what Daniel Jones is. You didn't need him to play in the preseason to know that. So, if you don't think that you done unlocked the best of... And plus, I heard Shane Steichen say, this is an opportunity for Anthony Richardson to sit behind a quarterback and learn. What is he learning from Daniel Jones, who has been bad his entire career? You could use that card for Joe Flacco, even though you did not keep... See, really what should have happened is when you benched him last year for Joe Flacco, you should have just kept him benched the rest of the season for Joe Flacco. Let him have a refresher, and now he start this year. But what you did was you benched Joe Flacco because he started playing bad. You brought Richardson back. See, that was just you coaching for your job. That wasn't you actually coaching for the betterment of a player or for your team. You just was coaching for your job. That might be the situation that's killing the Colts too. Because now you're not in a position of, oh, we coaching to get these players better. More than we coaching so we don't lose a job. We coaching so we can have another year. More than we coaching for Anthony Richardson to get better. And to have a good year that lead to a better next year. Because we might not be here next. So, I think there's a lot of things working against the Colts right now. I'm going to be honest with you. The best thing that happened for the Colts right now, and I hate this for Anthony Richardson, but the best thing might be just clean slate. You fire the GM, fire the coach. You trade Anthony Richardson because I'm pretty sure he'll have suitors. You get as much draft capital as you can. You're probably going to end up trading Kelly, the center. Not Kelly. Quentin Nelson. You're probably going to end up trading him. Like, I imagine you trade away one of the receiver. Like, you're probably going to do a wholesale to get as much draft capital as you can. But I think that's probably was in the best interest of the Colts. And probably for Anthony Richardson too, because the Colts just proved to you that they can't develop you. Or they don't even have the patience to stick with a game plan or whatever. And if they blame it on you, then they blame it on you. But either way, this thing done shown itself to not work. And once again, I'm not absolving Anthony Richardson. It's a lot of, because some people will point to like his game, like, and the flaws in his game on field. That don't matter though at the end of the day. And if you watch me, you know I bring up those areas in somebody's game that ain't working. But in this situation, the different things that Anthony Richardson isn't great at yet doesn't really matter because he hadn't played a lot of football and he needed to be developed. Meaning, when you draft a player that you know is in need of development, like you 100% know, you said it when you drafted him, it's a project, like you know he needs to be developed. It's on you to develop him. It's on you to put the people in place to develop him. Now, obviously, it's on the player also to develop, to in his free time to do things he needs to do to be developed. But when you are as raw a talent as Anthony Richardson is, you can't develop yourself by yourself. Like you still need people in place who know how to get you to where you need to get to, and you work on the things that they teach you in your spare time, but you still need the guidance. So if the guidance wasn't great or consistent, you know, it's really hard to go at Anthony Richardson. And I'm not here to tell you, like, if you put Anthony Richardson in a great situation and yada, 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 he going to be the second coming of Lamar Jackson. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Maybe he definitely a better quarterback than what he done shown us so far. But I just believe if you put him, I'm not telling you that if you put him with people who is committed to his development that he will turn into a great quarterback. But what I'm telling you is if you put him with people who are committed to his development, meaning they're not worried about getting fired, they're worried about him becoming a great quarterback for their team. If you put him in a situation like that and it's seen through, then you live with the results. Either the results will be he is just not a quarterback capable of playing at a level we need to win a Super Bowl. Maybe he is a mediocre. I don't know. Whatever quarterback he is. But I don't believe that the development has been seen through properly in Indy with Anthony Richardson, as proven by the fact that he was benched last year and he being benched to start the year this year, basically. So I just think this is a situation where you just got to hit the restart button if you're the Colts. And maybe you try to get Arch Manning. Like, I highly doubt if the Colts get the first pick in the draft that Arch Manning not coming out this year. Like, I saw the report that said he was going back to Texas. But if the Colts get the first pick in the draft, Arch Manning is going to the Indianapolis Colts, bro. Like, that's happening. He's playing on the team, I believe, Peyton, his uncle. So he's going to play on the team his uncle made famous. Like, it's going to happen. Now, that's a pressure I wouldn't wish on anybody because that's going to be some type of pressure. I don't even know if you Arch Manning that you would want that type of pressure. Now, I know he's going to say, I'm built for this type of pressure, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know that if I'm Arch Manning, I want to play on the team that Peyton Manning, my uncle, made famous, bro. Like, because Peyton wasn't no average quarterback. Peyton, the top 5 quarterback to ever live, to ever breathe. A lot of people tell you that's the greatest quarterback they ever seen with their own 2 eyes. So, that's a hell of a follow-up. That's a hell of, but if you're the Colts, to me, that's really the best case scenario in this situation because I don't really trust. Like, it would be easy to say, like, oh, the best case scenario is, Daniel Jones has a great season, yada, yada. But I don't believe that. So I'm not going to get on here and lie to you. And then I could say, well, best case scenario is Anthony Richardson end up playing. He played great. He developed, yada, yada. But I don't believe that'll happen either because I don't believe it. I believe that once you make this decision last year and this year, you are done with Anthony Richardson's development. What you get from him is what you get from him. And because we know he is not a developed, nearly close to being a finished developed prospect, every time he is thrown out there, they just want results at this moment. But he can only give you what he can give you. Maybe he'll have a moment, a series or two, where he'll play above his weekly production. But for the most part, because he is stuck in the place he is at now, because you've basically given up on his development, you're going to get what you're going to get from him. So every time he out there, it's probably going to look bad for him. So that's why I think you should probably just look into trading him within the next couple weeks. I'm pretty sure if a quarterback go down, or it's probably a team in the NFC that I'm not thinking, hell, if you're the Rams and Matthew Stafford's back really keep him from playing, and Stetson Bennett don't look the way you hope he would look early, maybe you go after Anthony Richardson. I'm trying to think of another team. Hell, if you nah, you're not doing that. You pay the man too much money right now. Well, money don't really matter because Anthony Richardson don't make a lot of money. So he made number 4 pick in the draft money, but that ain't hurting you like if he made quarterback. I don't know. There's a lot of things out there that could happen, but I just think the whole situation with Anthony Richardson and the Colts has just been not the greatest of situations for the player or for the team. More so team, though, in my opinion. But I don't believe this is like one of them situations, say, Justin Fields. Justin Fields has had opportunities to show if he was great or not. had multiple opportunities. I don't think that's the same. And people gave him the keys. That's not the same, in my opinion, when it comes to Anthony Richardson. Fields was a starter for multiple seasons in Chicago. And then he was not. I don't think, unless Fields had to play, like the way Fields would have had to play to keep the job in Pittsburgh, if he had to play like that, he would have never been out of Chicago. So to me, it was never even realistic that he was going to keep that job over Russ when Russ got healthy. So people can say, oh, well, they did him dirty in Pittsburgh, but I don't agree. And once again, I'm not saying that Indy did Anthony Richardson dirty. I'm just saying the situation haven't worked the way you would have hoped it would have worked when you drafted this type of player. Regardless of why it didn't work, I think it's just best to go ahead and start fresh. Start clean, give Anthony Richardson a fresh start, reset your franchise. I don't even know how Chris Ballard's still the GM this long. I done seen GMs do way better and not have this type of leeway, so I don't know. It's very interesting, but nonetheless, we move on to the Micah Parsons situation. Well, actually, first, before we get to Micah Parsons, because that's nothing has really changed in the Micah Parsons situation, to be completely honest with you. I mean, Jerry came out and said that he liked the drama, basically, that, you know, that the Cowboys being a circus does not bother him, yada, yada, yada. But we knew that. He just said the quiet part out loud. Micah Parsons is such an interesting situation because I really do believe that he could be traded. Like, I really believe Jerry could end up trading him. And if he is traded, I really do not believe that Jerry give a damn about who he trade him for, as long as he feel like he get adequate compensation back. So meaning, some people would be like, man, I ain't trading him to the Eagles, or I ain't trading him to like the Ravens, or I ain't trading him to the Chiefs. But if a team can create room for Micah Parsons, which Micah Parsons is the type of player that a team will create. A team that can been walking around for a year straight saying, man, we ain't got no cap room. If Micah Parsons come available, I guarantee you they'll figure it out. I think if the Eagles offered them a crazy offer they couldn't refuse, they'd trade him to the Eagles. That's just how the situation feel right now, in my opinion. But I actually want to talk about somebody else, because the team officially then came out and basically said, oh, yeah, we working on positive. More than likely, we're going to try to figure out a trade. And that's the Cincinnati Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. They have Adam Schefter reported that the Bengals are looking to trade Trey Hendrickson now. I think Trey Hendrickson gonna get paid wherever he get traded to. Once again, I saw this thing where people was talking about, oh, well, he's 30 years old. So what? Like, I saw people was talking about that with TJ Watt. This is crazy to me that now, like back then when I was coming up, I don't remember them talking about pass rushers being 30 years old and that being like the from 29 to 30 gonna be this crazy drop off. I just haven't seen, or I don't remember that being a huge talking point, the way people have made it a talking point when TJ was getting paid, or when it comes to Trey Hendrickson. Now, to me, the team that's signing Trey Hendrickson is not expecting Trey Hendrickson to continue to be the leader in sacks. Like, they're not expecting him, oh, next year he's going to have more sacks than Myles Garrett again. Because Myles Garrett, we know, is the better player. But when you sign Trey, you're expecting him to be a top 5 pass rusher, or at least a top 8 pass rusher for the next 3 to 4 years. Which I'm going to be completely honest with you. when you look at how, I think Trey Hendrickson should want a trade, not just because, not for the sole purpose of they won't pay him, but if Trey Hendrickson, because you look at the offense for Cincinnati, and you look at how great Joe Burrow looks because he has those type of weapons at his disposal throughout his career. Trey Hendrickson, if you put him with some other talented players, like high-level players around him, Trey Hendrickson might end up leading the league in sacks for the next 2-3 years again. Because you look at what he is doing without no opposite, because he does not have another dude opposite of him that's going for 12 or double-digit sacks a season. He don't have a dude opposite of him that the team is game planning for coming into those weeks against the Bengals. He does not even have another dude on the defense, to be completely honest with you, that another team is saying, when we sit down on offense and we're game planning how to beat this team, outside of scheme that the defense runs, what player do we need to lock in on and make sure we have him figured out because he can ruin the game? That's really only Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals. And it's probably been that way for a while since they let a lot of the defensive players go. Probably started the year after they got to that Super Bowl. They just started letting dudes walk. And that was the peak of that defense. I mean, they played great for that year and probably the next year and a half, but you lose that type of chemistry from all those talented players going off to other teams. I mean, look at how just much better Jesse Bates is. And I think even he could have been better if he had went to a defense that had even more talent around him. Like, that's obviously the thing, that for every great player you could be even better with other talent around you. But I'm looking at Trey Hendrickson specifically because with pass rushers, you look at what he is doing. To me, the perfect example is, and I'm not calling him this player, I'm just using him as an example. You look at how great Von Miller was in Denver. And then you look at how great Von Miller was when they put DeMarcus Ware beside him. Game changer. You look at how great Aaron Donald was. You look at how great Aaron Donald was when they put Von Miller opposite of him. Like, to me, when you look at a lot of these great pass rushers, and you could go down a list. There's multiple dudes you could go down a list. But when you look at how great some of these pass rushers, how even greater they become when you put another great opposite, and not even just putting a great beside them. Because nobody's saying Alex Highsmith is a legendary player or anything like that. But because he can get you double-digit sacks in a season, and he is opposite T.J. Watt. He is one of the reasons T.J. Watt can play the way he can play, because he got that help on the other side. When you look at Trey Hendrickson, he has really never had that help on the other side, and he is still giving you the production that he is giving you on a year-to-year basis. If he played on a different team with another defense that had another dude opposite of him where he couldn't be doubled and triple teamed on play after play, Trey Hendrickson probably could get you even, well, it ain't no probably, he more than likely is getting you even more sacks. So I think, to be complete, if I'm the GM of a good team, and I really think Buffalo should try to go after him. But if I'm the GM of a good, and I have a Super Bowl contending team, and I have a pass rusher on the left or the right, or it don't matter. If I have a great pass rusher, I'm trying to go trade for Trey Hendrickson to try to see if I can pair him with the pass rusher I have there. Because when you have, history done shown us time and time again, when you can have two pass rushers on opposite sides of each other, more times than likely, you're going to get great results. That's going to work to your benefit. So, and it's crazy because Cincinnati lost Super Bowl because of that. When they had to stop Von Miller and Aaron Donald, they couldn't. So, to me, if I'm a team out there, and because this is not one of those, and I guess you could be one of those teams that's a Super Bowl contending team, and you don't really have a dominant pass rusher, but you have a dominant team rush. Trey Hendrickson would be the guy yet. Like, I just don't think it's any situation. To me, and plus, I wouldn't fear paying Trey Hendrickson. Because to me, This is like I said about Derrick Henry last year when he signed with the Ravens and people was writing him off. I said, for one, Derrick Henry might have been coming off of a down year previous year, but he still had a great year for any other standard for a running back. But two, Derrick Henry has never played with a Lamar Jackson type of player in his career. Not only that, it don't just extend to, he coming to a team that's got a great player. He coming to a great team, great organization. He ain't played with this type of level of a great team yet, this type of talent. So that was going to make the game way easier for Derrick Henry. To me, you send Trey Hendrickson to a defense that's already good, that's already got a pass rusher there, it's going to be one of the best pass rushing duos in football. I can see the Broncos trying to go make a trade for Trey Hendrickson. I can see the Falcons trying to trade for Trey Hendrickson. I can see the Chiefs. The Chiefs just re-signed their pass rusher. I can see the Bills making trying to make a trade for Trey Hendrickson. But remind you, or a reminder, if you make a trade for Trey Hendrickson, you have to be willing to pay him because that's what he's going to want, a contract extension. And I do believe that the Bengals need to go ahead and let this man, because I really think the Bengals is hurting him. None of this is hurting the Bengals. They're going to get their money regardless. This is hurting Trey because he is missing time. He missing reps that he could be having. His body is not going to be in football shape when it's time for him to go out there, so he could risk a soft tissue injury or something like that. So I really hate this for Trey Hendrickson because the man just wants his money, what he has earned. And I really think he could get it somewhere else and be in a better situation. It's tough to say truly a better situation because you do love the offense of Cincinnati, but you could be in a better situation, trust me. Like, you imagine him going to one of... Could you imagine if the Eagles had the money to pay Trey Hendrickson and he got over there to Philly and he was always playing with a lead? I'm going to be honest, I thought before Washington signed Von Miller, I thought they was a team that could have traded. Now, I don't think that Cincinnati done truly been shopping him the way that they said they were in the beginning. I think now they might truly be shopping him. But I hope Trey Hendrickson does not do is take a low ball deal just to stay there and be like, I just want to help Joe Burrow win. Because you could spend the next 10 years trying to help Joe Burrow win and miss out and never make up the money that you could have made if you had just accepted it's time to go play elsewhere. As simple as that. So, and like I said, I think that he could get paid elsewhere and be in a great situation. Like, this ain't one of them situations where Trey got to go to a sorry team that's got a lot of money and play for a bad team, collect stats. And that's not going to be bad, but I definitely think it's great teams out there that's on the, even if it's not like a Ravens Bills, Chiefs type or Eagles level of team. This team's out there like, now I don't think they'll do it because they already have Will Anderson and Hunter. But what if the Texans think to themselves, we could stack the deck and really have a pass rush if we go make a trade for Trey Hendrickson. Boy, that'll take the Texans to a whole nother stratosphere, in my opinion, because that's a really tough pass rush to set up. I think the Giants will have a better season this year for the simple reason they will have a better pass rush. I'm not going to use, I don't truly know what Jackson Dart will be. I don't even know how many games he'll play this season. I don't know how great Russell Wilson will be. We'll talk about it when we can talk about that one day. But I just like you got Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. This is like when they had Tucker, JPP, O.C. Umenyiora, Michael Strahan. This is like when they had that. So the Giants could really could you imagine Lamar Jackson having a pass rush like that and his team got a 2-3 touchdown lead? You're eating. That's a dream type of defensive line. You can only put together a line like that from being as bad as the Giants have been over the last couple years or decades. So it's not like they was special and they just make great draft picks. You got to be bad to actually get these type of level of players. And they traded for Brian Burns. Signed Brian Burns. No, did they trade then re-signed him? Either way, it's a great pass rush line for the Giants. So I think they'll be better at least as far as like pass rush wise, because the Giants got some talent over there on the defensive side of the ball and some talent on the offensive side of the ball. For them, it's just going to be about the quarterback. Plus, you play in the division with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. So that division will be an interesting division. But like I was saying about Trey Hendrickson, there's a lot of good teams out there that I think could make a move for Trey Hendrickson. And hell, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think the Panthers could go make a trade for Trey Hendrickson. And they're not even a great team. But if you think that Bryce Young is going to, if you thought last year was the start of his development and you think this year he will be a far better quarterback, Trey Hendrickson make a lot of sense if you're Carolina. You need that level of pass rusher. Plus, Carolina have been pretty good at developing their defensive players. I think Trey Hendrickson would be good in Carolina. Not to mention, if I'm Carolina and I sign Trey Hendrickson for the next couple of years, I don't even mind Trey Hendrickson being great and we being bad for the upcoming year as long as we make growth, because we'll probably still get a great pick in the draft. Everything is dependent on Bryce Young developing and being a great quarterback. We can have another year where we draft in the top 10, but it can't be because Bryce Young is bad. It have to be because the team overall is just not that great compared to other teams. Like when the season ends, we have to think to ourselves, Bryce Young was phenomenal. We need to go make sure we get him some help on if it's receiver or offensive line or running back. It's got to be one of them. It can't be Bryce Young. It can't be the season ended and it's like, bro, Bryce Young took a step back. Or Bryce Young was just average. It cannot be that. It also can't be Bryce Young was great. We signed Trey Hendrickson and he was terrible. It's got to be we signed Trey Hendrickson and he was great, but we got to get some people around him because he'll probably be even better. I think that's where you have... Now, granted, if you leave in Cincinnati and going to Carolina and all those things happen, then you leave in the same situation. But granted, it don't matter because Carolina would have paid you. So, I think the Atlanta Falcons could go get him. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they wanted to, if they had the money. Now, this is all dependent on if the team got the space and the money to get him, but I think that would make sense, him over there playing for that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. I could see the LA Rams going to put, if he got to the LA Rams with Jared Verse and them boys over there, Kobe Turner, like, I would love to see him play for the LA Rams. Oh my goodness. He would probably make a run for Defensive Player of the Year if he was with the Rams. I'm not going to lie to you. I could see the Patriots trying to go after him. Once again, if the Texans wanted to get greedy, I could see them going after him, but I don't think that's going to happen because if they get him, Danielle Hunter is like, I think, in the top 5 or 6 of highest paid pass rushers. I don't think you're going to have him and have, because you got to pay CJ coming up. So I don't think you're going to have him and Trey Hendrickson on those type of contracts. Maybe you will. But it's teams out there that Trey Hendrickson can go to. Because to me, Trey Hendrickson is also one of those players. If he go to your team, he's going to make an impact. Like, I think Trey Hendrickson is in the prime of his career. So it's not like you're going and getting a dud or you're getting a dude who provides absolutely no impact other than he getting his own stats. No, I think Trey Hendrickson is a very impact. I mean, some of the biggest plays from Cincinnati, if not made by the offense, it was made more than likely by Trey Hendrickson and pressure he caused or him finishing a play. Like, there's no two ways around it. He's been one of the clutcher defensive players in the league. Now, I'll always tell you that the clutchest player on the defensive side of the ball in football, to me, right now, is T.J. Watt. But when you watch Myles Garrett, that is, and Trey Hendrickson as often as I do because I am a Baltimore Raven fan, so I watch those 3 teams often. Trey Hendrickson, one of the better defense. Like, I done watched games against the Ravens where Trey Hendrickson made key stops in key situations where if Trey Hendrickson don't make this play, it could get ugly for Cincinnati or the game could go a different type of way for Cincinnati. Now, granted, Cincinnati don't really beat Lamar Jackson. I think they 1-8 against Lamar Jackson, some shit like that. But they don't just play Lamar Jackson. That's the beauty of football. They play a lot of other teams. And Trey Hendrickson, I keep seeing people say, well, as great as he was, you look how bad the defense is. I hate it when people try to do shit like that. Like Trey Hendrickson, it's like baseball. I don't care how great Bryce Harper is. If the whole team around him is trash, him hitting 100 home runs ain't gonna change shit. That's just how it go. Trey Hendrickson could have finished the season with 40 sacks last year. Shit wasn't gonna change it when you got a bad secondary, everybody else on the defensive line not great, everybody in my linebacking core not really great. Like, Trey Hendrickson is one player at the end of the day. You're asking him to be elite on every single down of the game, basically, to prove that he is worth a contract. That is just ignorant and stupid. So I believe Trey Hendrickson will get paid. I think he's one of the better. I think he's a top 5 pass rusher in football right now. And the results in the product that he put on the field the last 2-3 seasons has said such. So, and once again, I think he's 30, 31. I think he's finna turn 31. I think he's in the prime of his career. I think you give him a 4-year contract. I think you're going to get every single penny's worth of that contract. I think it's just hard for me to believe, watching Trey Hendrickson over the last couple years. It's very hard for me to say that he won't give you your money's worth and that he's not really great. Because, you know, you do have those defensive players sometimes that's more so relying on scheme. So they play in a great scheme with a lot of talent around them. So it's like, I don't know how great he is, but he played great in this scheme. He played great with these players around him. So I'm going to give him a lot of money because maybe he could do that on our team. And then you realize, damn, it was probably just the scheme and the players around. I don't think that's Trey Hendrickson because clearly the scheme. Now, Lou Anarumo was a great head coach. I mean, was a great defensive coordinator. So I would never look at Trey Hendrickson and say it wasn't the scheme. But a defensive player, a defensive end can live more so outside the scheme than a lot of the other players on the team. Like, Trey Hendrickson not playing to the scheme ain't going to hurt you as much as your middle linebackers or your players in the secondary just going off good. Because Trey Hendrickson's job is to stop the run, stop the pass. Now, I mean, stop the run and get after the quarterback. Getting after the quarterback 90%, probably even higher than that percent of the time. When I look at Trey Hendrickson, I just don't see a player that's living off a scheme or living off of talent around him. I see a player that is damn great, and if he had talent around him, he'd be even greater. So I think the Bengals making a mistake not paying him, to be completely transparent. And I think the team, if he is traded, the team that goes out there, because right now I think people just making it seem like Micah is the only true valuable asset to be traded right now, or Terry McLaurin. I actually think Trey Hendrickson is just as valuable of a piece. Now, he ain't Micah because Micah is, 25, 26? But Trey Hendrickson, to me, might be more valuable to you than Terry McLaurin right now because you know exactly what you're getting from Trey Hendrickson. And you looking at the defensive players he done had around him his supporting cast the last couple years is nowhere near what you probably would be bringing him into. So you already get a bonus in that aspect. Like if he joined a team like the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Chargers, the 49ers, the Rams, like, bro, these are teams that are most teams that Trey Hendrickson goes to because of how bad a defense the Bengals have right now. 96% of the teams he go to right now, he would be joining a far better supporting cast than what he is leaving. So I think it would be a win-win for a team trading for Trey Hendrickson, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm the Bengals, I mean, I just don't see why you hold this man hostage this long, to be completely honest with you. I don't. You don't want to pay him his value. You don't want to give him the guaranteed money that he asked him for. You know good and damn well other teams will. That's why you holding him hostage. I don't get it. But with that being said, we'll talk about some of these rookie quarterbacks next show. I was trying to wait till all of the preseason games was done. That's why I haven't came on here and talked about Shador or Dylan Gabriel or any of these dudes individually yet because I wanted the season to play out a little bit. But we shall return and talk about those things. But with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in this world. So choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I fuck with you. I love you. And I appreciate you for the support. It means the world. Excuse me. Until next time. Saying out.
You find yourself alone, riding in green fields with the sun on your face. Do not be troubled. Brothers, What we do in life echoes in eternity.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.